What's going on? It's your boy Sermon at Sermon's Domain on Twitter. Last week I started up my monthly series about the most anticipated albums. I did January, and some people confused that for being like the entire 2016 and were throwing in their choices in the comment section. But this is the video for most anticipated albums of 2016. I'm going to name off my 10, and then I encourage you to, give me some of yours in the comment section below. And I'm going to start it off with Kanye West's Wish. I think it's a no-brainer why this is on my list. But I think it goes deeper than that. More than just being another Kanye West album in his, in his discography. I think I'm worried, and I want to see if he can deliver another great body of work. I wasn't impressed with Yeezus. I know a lot of people who are, but me, I thought it was the most disappointing album of his entire career. And I want to see where Swish ranks. Obviously the singles have been the topic of discussion, and wondering like what direction Kanye is gonna go with and how the album's gonna sound. Nobody really knows, and I think that's exciting a little bit. It worries me, but it's exciting at the same time. So that's why I definitely have to put Swish on my list. Whenever it drops. Second on the list, let's keep it in the good music family. Pusha T, King Push. After Darkest Before Dawn, I think this one is a no-brainer as well. Pusha T is a supreme lyricist who, destroyed that album. Came with so many good songs. Untouchable, for instance, is my jam. I love that record. I just love the whole Biggie sample, and the fact that it's produced by Timbaland makes it a lot more cooler. Just because I haven't heard a good Timbaland beat in a while. And it's really a dark beat for something like for someone like Timbaland. And I'm just excited to get King Push. I guess it's supposed to come out in April, but there's no confirmed date. We probably won't get one for until closer to that, if it's actually coming out in April. But Pusha T said he's dropping in the spring, so that could be any time between April, May, June. So we shall see, but it's not hard to see why King Push is on my list. Coming off of one good album, I'm expecting another one that's even better. Darkest Before Dawn was supposed to be the appetizer, so I'm expecting King Push to actually be like the main course, and I hope it does deliver. Third on my list, let's go with Frank Ocean's Boys Don't Cry. Now, that's the title that the internet has that, allegedly Frank said was the title, but then there was some speculation it might be like a magazine title or whatever. Anyways, whatever the title is, Frank Ocean's album is on the list. He's gone almost 3 years without putting out an album. He's dropped maybe, I think, you can count on your hands how many little songs he's dropped since Channel Orange in 2012. And while I can't say that I'm still bumping Channel Orange, I think the mystique of Frank Ocean is enough to want to put this on the list, because he's still a new artist, in a sense, because he hasn't put out much material, and most people in his position don't do what he does. Nobody does that whole debut album and then disappears from that. So it's interesting that Frank did that, and I think that surrounds like the mystique of why everyone is anticipating his album. Because I don't know, people love Channel Orange, and I can't say that I hate it, but I can't say that I'm honestly listening to it still currently. I might pick out one or two songs, but as a whole body of work, I would have to say I'm not, going in and listening to it like that. But like I said, that mystique is what draws people in. We want to know what the hell Frank Ocean is thinking. What is going through his mind? Why is he so mysterious? Why is he so quiet? Is it going to affect his career when he finally comes, or has this only heightened the anticipation? And I think it has, but we'll see when, he finally drops and the numbers come in, and, if it's praised or if it's hated, whatever. Next, I'm going to go with a wild card pick. Chino XL. He hasn't put out an album since 2012, The Reconstruction, and he's supposed to drop an album this year. There's no title, so it's untitled right now. And there's no single. The last song he put out was called Hush. It was a really nice storytelling record. I'd recommend going to check that out. But I've always been a Chino XL fan because he's like a master lyricist. He knows how to bend, punchlines and similes and words to his advantage, and that's what that's like his main appeal. And not to say like he can't. Like I said, he dropped Hush, and that was a storytelling record. And on the Reconstruction, he had a storytelling record, about his daughter getting cancer and then overcoming that. So he can switch it up and do like story tracks and other subjects as well. But I think he shines bright when he just goes in and delivers like these hard hitting, punchline driven, simile having, metaphor slinging, all the type of records like that. And I feel like that is why I'm anticipating another Chino XL album, because I haven't heard one in almost, what is it now, 4 years? That's hell of a long time. And I just think it's gonna be spectacular because Chino XL really doesn't disappoint. And I'm still listening to the Reconstruction. It's a 2-disc album that I'm still absorbing 4 years later. That tells you a lot about Chino XL's music and how the longevity plays into that. Next up, this is also a no-brainer. Drake, Views from the Six. Do I really have to explain this one? I mean, Drake had a monstrous 2015. He ran 2015. He had, the mixtape, If You're Reading This It's Too Late. And then he had What a Time to Be Alive with Future. And in between all of that, he had a bunch of loose singles. Hotline Bling was almost his first solo #1 hit on the Billboard charts. You couldn't escape it as much as you might have hated it. It was everywhere. And I think Drake just had a big enough year to where he set himself up that Views is going to be his biggest album yet. I don't know about quality-wise because we haven't heard any songs off of it, but in terms of anticipation going into it, Drake is like probably the #1 on the list. It kind of teeters. I would think it's like Drake and Kanye, like interchangeable, I guess, depending on who you talk to. But Drake is gonna have a big year again with Views from the Six. I don't know how he plans on putting it out. If it's gonna be a surprise, if it's gonna be traditional, who knows? But it's coming. And it's coming this year. And another pick I'm going to choose is Anderson .Paak's Malibu, which actually drops this month on January 15th. I really got into the singles. The Season / Carry Me, Am I Wrong, and Room in Here. I think that's like a three-peat right there. And just building off of what he created in 2015, the couple projects that he dropped, being co-signed by Dr. Dre heavily. I think I'm very interested to hear what he does with Malibu. And I think it's going to be a really good album because the singles have, a lot of promise. And I listened to like snippets of the album, I think last month. Kind of just like, me browsing, doing other stuff and having on in the background. And it doesn't sound like a bad album at all. So I'm looking forward to Malibu on January 15th. Another choice I had was Starlito and Don Tripp's Step Brothers 3. They kind of teased that last year on Starlito's introversion. They were saying, Step Brothers 3 on the way. They're working on Step Brothers 3, but they haven't did much since then. They haven't, they've collaborated, but they haven't like talked about it or teased it. So if they're working on it, they're working on it quietly. But I think 2016 is the year that we get it because, Starlito put out, 3 projects last year. Don Tripp put out an EP and then his debut album, Godspeed. And now I just feel like it's the right time to go back in and deliver Step Brothers 3. Another album on my list is Montana of 300 Fire in the Church. This will be his first solo body of work since December of 2014. And that's, in music years, that's like a decade. So I'm interested to see where Montana takes it because he has the ability to write really good songs and catchy, melodic driven. But on the flip side, he has the ability to really go in and spit hard, tough, all of that. So I'm interested to see, where he takes it on this album, if there's like a nice balance of that or how he's going to play it about it. I guess it's coming out May 6th. That's when, he announced it. He's the type that announces things way in advance and kind of keeps his word. So unless, other factors come into play, maybe he's signed into a label or maybe he's already signed to a label, so that might come into play, or he's just not ready for the album. I don't know. So we'll see when May 6th come around. Fire in the Church, Montana 300. Number 9 on my list, Prime 2. We just got the deluxe edition of Prime's debut album back in December, which is still a very genius idea to do, and made me go back and appreciate the album. I've been listening to it a lot more than I probably did when it first dropped in 2014. And back in September, Royce was kind of teasing like doing another Prime album with DJ Premier, and I really hope it comes true. I remember he was throwing out names like Kendrick, The Game, and Eminem for guest features, and oh my goodness, I think that would be insane. Hearing like Kendrick over a DJ Premier beat next to Royce, like Royce just has this ability, at least on Prime, to bring out the best in people, and I don't think he's gonna let any of these guests slouch. Game probably gonna deliver one of his best verses of the year if he's on it. Of course, these are not confirmed, but these are the names that Royce was throwing out there, and I'm sure he'll get Eminem. It feels like it's that time. I know he said he wanted to get Eminem on Prime originally, but it didn't pan out. And finally on my list, a new Jay-Z album. He went the entire 2015 without putting out a song, a guest feature as far as I'm concerned, and definitely no album. But I mean, he didn't go on like a permanent vacation. He did the title stuff, but he didn't put out nothing musically, and I was wondering, like, that's rare for Jay-Z. Jay-Z always finds some way to pop up and do something, but in 2015 it didn't feel like he had a reason to, besides the whole title the whole title thing. So 2016 is the 20th anniversary of Reasonable Doubt, and I know he'll probably have something special to commemorate that. And at the same time, I hope he comes with some kind of album as well. I don't know. I mean, we know Jay-Z is always kind of working. You hear little interview snippets from other people here and there that kind of say, well, Jay-Z's been working on this, he has this, and I think it's going to be a really interesting year for him, because his last album, Magna Carta, Holy Grail, was met with very mixed reviews. I think it was a good album, but I don't know if it was a great album for Jay-Z, but it was solid. So I want to see where he can take it at this point in his career. Like, where do you go from where you're at? How do you create music at the level that you're at? You're worth what, like half a billion dollars at this point. What do you do? I don't know. So I'm interested to see what Jay-Z can come up with. And there's so many other names I could have threw in this list. Now that I'm thinking about it, I didn't even think about Nas. I know Ghostface plans on dropping 3 albums, one with Doom, another with Tragedy Gaddafi, and I can't remember the other, Killer Priest. It's called The Power of Attraction. And of course he's doing a Supreme Clientele sequel. So that's 3 albums right there. There's so many other names I could put it and throw in there, but I'm going to stop right here at 10. And I would have said if I had thought about it thoroughly, I definitely would have had Nas, because Nas, his guest features in 2015 were amazing. So now I want to hear, which ones are you anticipating for 2016? Let me know in the comment section below. And then like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already, share the video, follow me on Twitter at SermonsDomain. As always, thank you for your time. I appreciate you for watching. And until next time, peace.